Okay, the title of this video is Most Embarrassing Moment, but truth is, we all have many. So this is just one of my most embarrassing moments. One that I'm ready to talk about right now. The other ones, it's gonna take some time and some therapy to probably bring it up to you. But this is one of, not the most embarrassing moment, but it's an embarrassing moment. So let's start. This happened while I was at work. There was this weird guy who would sit outside and like right before his shift or during his break or even after work, like for an hour sometimes after work or before work, singing and playing his guitar. It was around the holiday time, the holiday season. I'm working in a call center. So around season time they hire a lot of people, and this just happened to be one of the weirdos that they hired around that time. It was around Christmas, and he would just sit outside playing his guitar and singing. And the funny thing about it is that he did not have a great voice. Like, his voice was terrible. It was really, really bad. So he would do it all the time. Every single time I saw him, he was there belting out what I guess he thought were notes, but they weren't. I don't know what they were, but he would do it all the time. So anyways, people would make fun of him behind his back, which wasn't nice, but I mean, he was so out there. I mean, why would you sit outside in front of the door, the entrance door that all the employees are going to, singing these tunes all the time with a bad voice? Either you're showing off, I'm not sure what you're showing off because you don't really have talent, or you're just a little... So anywho, he got this reputation for being a weirdo at the job. I never said anything to him. We just kind of went our own ways. Like, every time I saw him, he was singing or whatever. He never was talking to anyone. So I would see him, but we never like said hi or anything. I mean, nothing. We never exchanged any words. I'm not sure if he even knew I existed. Okay, fast forward. I was working in one of my offices that day, and in that office I share with two other people. So they have their own, we have like 3 separate desks, and we're all sitting within this tiny, quiet office. And he works out on the floor, like where all the other agents work, again, as a call center. And he says, or he walks in to the office one day while I was sitting there, and he walks over to like an empty chair in this dead silent office. I mean, it's so silent that you can hear a pin drop. He sits down in an empty chair and he looks over at me and he's like, "Can I take you on a date?" And it was so awkward for me. Because one, we've never exchanged words in all the years that, or I should say months. He was only working there for a few months when this happened. And all the months that we're working here together, you've never said anything to me. And then 2, you choose to ask me out by walking into my office where the door was closed and there are 2 other people sitting in the room and it's dead silent. So it just took me by surprise, and I'm not really sure like how I reacted, but I kind of did something like, "Are you kidding me? Really?" And he kind of like put his head down and he's like, "Yeah." And then I said something like, "Oh, I can't, like I have a boyfriend. I'm sorry." And he was serious, like he was really serious. At that point I realized like he wasn't joking, like he was dead serious. And he's like, "Okay, that's cool." And he gets up out of the chair that was vacant before. He gets up and he walks out of the office. And I'm sitting there like, like, what just happened? And the other girls that were in the room with me, they didn't even know what to say. They were quiet for a while, and then they just started laughing. And I didn't even know how to react. And I didn't know how to react. Then after like it settled down and I realized like what I had done, like I embarrassed him, like I felt so terrible. Like I felt so bad. Like my reaction like wasn't very, like, it wasn't mature. So I remember writing him a note, and when I went on break and I went out onto the floor where he works, I wrote him, or I gave him the note that I wrote him, saying something like, I'm sorry by the way that like I reacted in there, but I'm very shy and I just didn't know like how to respond to that. I said, you seem like a cool person and we can, you know, be friends and stuff, but I am in a relationship. I did a little white lie, and that's usually the only lie that I really tell, is that I have a boyfriend in most cases when I really don't. But I say that just to spare people's feelings, because it's harder just to say like I'm not interested. But yeah, I'm working on it. But anyways, I told him that, and he seemed like he felt better. He wrote me another letter, and he dropped it off in the office again later on that day. But since then, like, people's been making jokes to me. They're like, oh, you know, the American Idol wannabe's girlfriend, like, there you are. And every time I walked by, like, people would just, like, say things, or they would just make fun of us, like, being a couple. And a few weeks later, like, I noticed that he disappeared, like 2 or 3 weeks later. I'm not sure if he was fired or he quit. Either way, I'm glad he was feeling better, like, after the whole situation took place. But, like, I'm such a private person, for the most part, despite me putting up these videos on YouTube. And for everyone to see me in, like, that situation with him, like, you know, like, I don't know. It was... no one, like, really even knows, like, what my dating, like, story is. And then I had to, like, explain myself, like, in front of him and other people in this quiet office that he didn't even knock to come in, and just sat down and just started asking me this question. I mean, everything about it was weird, and now every one of my employees are making fun of me, and it's like this big joke, laughing stock. Like, ugh. It was very embarrassing at the time. Again, it's not my most embarrassing story. I'll probably have more to tell you in the future, but this is definitely one for the books. Comment and let me know some embarrassing things that happened to you, and maybe like strange ways of people who asked you out, like just out of the blue kind of ask you out. I want to hear it. I'm so excited. Alright, enjoy!